Hi, my name is Brianna Hudson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about social judgment theory, which is a concept in Module 4. And so, social judgment theory explains that people do not evaluate a message based on the merits of the argument, but rather that they compare an idea with their anchor position or their preconceived attitude, and then they decide whether they want to accept or reject the message or the idea based on their latitude of acceptance, their latitude of rejection, or their latitude of non-commitment. And playing into that, there's also assimilation factors, contrast effect, and ego involvement, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. So, a time when I used social judgment theory was recently when UTSA put the transportation and athletic fees to a vote for students. And so, this vote was basically to raise tuition um, for the students to help athletic students and the athletic events for students as well. And the transportation fee was for parking and things like that. And so my attitude already was that I knew as a student athlete that we needed this funding, and so my anchor position was that we needed the funding. And so knowing that we were putting it to a vote for students, I accepted the idea and I voted yes because it easily fell into my latitude of acceptance. Now, for the other students who voted no, you could say that it fell into their latitude of rejection because they felt like they shouldn't have to pay more money to help athletes or parking when they don't use the parking, they don't go to athletic events, they don't play a sport, and things like that. So that fell into their latitude of rejection, and they voted no. And for the students who didn't vote at all, they either probably didn't know about it or they just didn't care, which means that that would fall into their latitude of non-commitment. And so the factors of assimilation and contrast effect and things like that would be so the students who are athletes are more ego involved and actually care about the issue, which would mean that they would easily vote yes, and they're assimilated to the idea, so it easily falls into their latitude of acceptance. And for the contrast effect, you can see that there's the students who don't really want to pay more, or they pay for their own school, and it's hard for them to accept that they would have to pay more, and it contrasts with their idea already, and so it would fall into their latitude of rejection. So I think that social judgment theory really proves how difficult it is in this, especially in this situation. I think social judgment theory really proves how difficult it is for persuaders to persuade people with already existing attitudes towards an idea, and it's hard when people have a preconceived notion of an idea already to persuade them otherwise. So I think that this shows that if UTSA wants to do another vote or something, they need to better explain and be more inclusive of all attitudes of the idea. And so I would say that another way you could use social judgment theory would be, say you're in the workplace and you want to convince your boss, who doesn't really believe in raises or overtime and things like that, that you deserve a raise. And so you already know his anchor position is that he doesn't believe in raises, and so you don't want to say anything that would fall into his latitude of rejection. So if you want to fall into his latitude of acceptance, you would use more persuasive language towards that, like I'll work for it, I'll prove to you, things like that. And so you could use social judgment theory in a way that you know his anchor position and you use that to your advantage. I also think social judgment theory is really important because it gives persuaders a better understanding of why people reject or accept ideas. So the persuaders understand, like, oh, they didn't even give this message a chance, I wonder why. And then reading up on social judgment theory, you realize it's because they already have an idea about the message already. And it also shows like how you can persuade someone who cares a lot about a topic or someone who doesn't care at all about a topic. And so that is my story about social judgment theory and a concept in Module 4. Thank you.